It'll try to find
dirty,
matches.
by the way, to Google yourself.
Actually, if you haven't,
Yeah.
you should. You got stuff in your pocket. You want to do this again?
No. Okay. I got a menu for a coffee shop in this jacket.
Menu for a coffee shop.
Coffee sounds so good right now.
Oh, right now. My gosh. Yeah, I haven't
okay.
had my coffee yet.
Are you inhuman right now?
I know. That's usually the first thing I do is have
Man,
coffee.
it's
but,
just after 8 in the morning and you haven't had your coffee.
Not yet.
Well, by the way, because we showed up here to go photograph the sunrise, I like photographing sunrise because for sunset, this place here is not, it's just like packed with people.
Generally speaking, you know, unless you're going to a place that is frequented by photographers, sunrise, you get most of the place to yourself.
It is. It's really nice.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have.
It is really nice. It's only a little bit challenging when you've had a very late day the previous day.
Sure, I'm familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you run workshops. That's what you do. It's like,
man.
you know, you sleep when you sleep next week.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of workshops and
before we even
class
do that, I'm seated next to the man who needs no introduction, and I'm Scott Davenport. I've been waiting to
You
do
don't
that for
know who I am?
17 episodes or
You
whatever
don't
it
know
is.
who I am?
Spencer Pablo. Well, speaking of workshops,
But you
because
said I didn't need an introduction, and then you just introduced me. Anyway, I'm
it was a joke. It's
Greg
Greg Miser.
Barrett is my name.
Greg Barrett.
I don't know. Hey, Greg, if there's a Greg Barrett watching this,
That'd be amazing.
send me a message. I'll figure something to send to
Be
you.
amazing.
You know, random. Anyway, I'm Spencer Pablo. You just said I had a workshop yesterday.
Yeah,
I did. I was there when the camera. So it was at a camera shop. One of my favorite camera shops, George's Camera in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I was there right when they opened, and I pretty much left right when they closed. So I'm an
that
honorary
was 9
employee.
to 5, basically. It
Yeah.
was a full day.
Yeah, so I
thing.
was there for a long time yesterday, and then after that, there was a lot of other post-workshop things I need to go ahead and do.
Okay.
So it was a full day, but during the workshop, I may have mentioned to the attendees that we had a podcast where we talked about copyright. And you super politely came to me later saying, Spencer, you idiot, we only talked about this.
We talked about talking about copyright.
Yes.
And didn't.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it today.
Today's Copyright Day.
Yay.
Copyright Sunday.
Yes, this photographic, Photographers in Cars is copyrighted by Greg Barrett.
By Greg Barrett.
We just handed over the show to this random person.
Thanks, Greg. Take good care of the show.
We appreciate your support, Greg. Yeah.
So
like to me, like the copyright, not so much, you know, who owns the copyright on the photo, because you do when you press the shutter and all that kind of stuff, but more about, you know, like, for example, you watermark your photos, and I don't, so that's something different that we do. I mean, do you register your work with the Copyright Office? Do you have any copyright claims? How do you protect your work? All that kind of stuff. And maybe we'll start with the watermark part of it, because I've not done it mainly because I just didn't want to put something to distract from the photo. But you know, you've got a nice, and I will say nice, you know, it's a subtle watermark.
Yeah.
It's not like the big thing right in the middle of the frame that says, you know, copyright Joe,
Sure.
you know, kind of thing.
So for me, I do a few things. I only make sure that the images I put out, one, are low resolution, because you can watermark the hell out of your image, and yeah, it's gonna get distracting if you do watermark the hell out of your image. But Photoshop is so good now that it's very easy and with very little effort for you to remove that watermark. Right. So I make sure that my source material is low res.
So what do you define as low res?
Low res to me is like 1800 pixels on the
Okay, yeah, I'm around 2000 when I put photos out, so something like that. Okay, yeah, that's about the same.
So that's
same area.
It's good enough for Facebook, right?
Right.
But that still doesn't prevent folks from taking my images and putting it as their own. Like, they can slightly crop it a little bit, because I do have a signature that I try to make it a very narrow, very minimal, and sometimes I give it 60% opacity. So it just kind of like sometimes you'll look at an image and go, oh, what is that in the sky? Oh, it says watermark, and that's I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it, and also I'm not. The images that I do put out there are I don't put out in a lot of images. I don't know. Relatively speaking, I think I put out maybe like once every 2 weeks. Is kind of my frequency of the images that
a photo that you consider this is my work,
right?
And
right. Okay. And this is public. There's a lot of other images that I'll put out at a more frequent basis for a non-public facing side of my website or something like that. It's not meant for John Q public. It's meant for my clients, and so that's the one that no one really ever sees. Yeah. But pretty much that's it. I don't register my stuff, and so I'm actually really glad we're going to talk about this now. I hope you can educate me.
Yeah, so yeah, I do register my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't watermark, and I'll get to why I think I might start doing it, and it's a little. Okay. Honestly, it makes me feel a little bit dirty. It's a little devious. But we're gonna get
sleazy
there.
Scott.
Oh, the voice. That was the first voice, I think. Anyway,
sleazy.
So
Scott.
yeah, so I did start registering my work because I was having places that were taking the photo.
Yeah.
And mostly it's online. Mostly somebody takes it and they go and they use it on their website.
Yeah.
And if it's a blog or something like that, I'll just ask, can you please
credit me?
It's like I remember somebody had one of my sunrise photos and it was like this blog about yoga and this thing and other thing. I said, that's fine, it's great. Just hey, give me a credit, point back to my website.
Right.
That's fine.
How'd you even find that?
Well, I guess I'll get there too.
Okay.
But yeah, so I do register my work. I do it 5 times a year because the way I operate is I'll share the photo first, and then I'll register it within 90 days of having shared it, and that way I get full protection from this. Is at least for U.S. law. I don't know about other countries, and so to make sure that I don't miss a 90-day thing because there's I do it 5 times a year. So and you can register as many photos as you like for in a given shot for I think it's $55.
Okay.
So it's not free. It'll cost you a few $100 over the year. But the reverse side is if someone infringes on it and it is a corporation or a business, then you will, number one, not have an issue of who owns the photo, and 2, you can get a lot more restitution as a result. And I've got probably, I want to say 7 open cases right now. Wow. And that's probably not a lot, but I use a service called Pixie, Pixsy, and they don't pay me to say this, but they're a great service. It's free. They have a free plan where I think they cover. They'll give you 5,000 photos you can upload or something like that. Okay. And in the background, they just basically do image searches. So you can do this on Google yourself. If you don't want to do anything, you can go to Google yourself and say I want to do a reverse image lookup, and it'll try to find
dirty,
matches.
By the way, to Google yourself.
Actually, if you haven't, you should.
I'm gonna Google myself.
Yeah, there are several Scott Davenports that have nothing to do with photography. It's like a basketball coach somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I first moved to San Diego, there was another one who was a lawyer. It was that's kind of weird.
Oh, weird.
The place that I use, Pixie, I'll send up my photos to them, and they just run image lookup searches in the background, and once a week I go and check, and they give you what are you going to call it, a kind of like it's a slider on the thing, do you want me to show you the matches that are more commercial or less commercial, and they try to filter out the blogs or the aggregation sites, because there's always like if you just do a Google search for I don't know San Diego sunrise, you're going to find photos all over the place. Well, they'll try to filter out places like that. Cool. Certain countries they don't operate in, they don't have legal reach everywhere, but it's actually grown quite a bit since I started using it. So once a week you go in, you see what the matches are, and sometimes it's they're using one of my photos on some I don't know, real estate seems to be kind of a surprisingly common theme for people that are taking photos around San Diego. And so then, yeah, you can open up a
see.
case. They do all the legal work.
Okay.
All you basically say is, yeah, this is my photo. Here's information. If I have a copyright registration, I give them that. And, it takes a while. It's
Sure.
legal stuff. But they're doing all of it. Sure, they take a cut, but I wouldn't get anything, honestly, because it's too much,
No,
too
that's
much of a
true.
hassle for an individual person.
Let the robots do it.
Fundamentally, yeah, so, and their communication all along the way is really great.
Yeah.
So, the whole way along, you're getting updates on, yeah, we've accepted the case, and yeah, it's gone to the legal
Sure.
partner, and here's what's going on, and I had my first resolution happen just, I guess it finished out in December.
Okay.
Then
I remember you were telling us about that.
Yeah,
Well,
they pay
so
you.
you say you do this 5 times a year. You pay a couple hundred, but there's a free plan.
Well, okay, so there's two pieces to that. So yeah, I think I got confusing there. So the registration with the Copyright Office, that costs money.
Oh, I
So
got
that's
you.
the thing I do. I register my photos 5 times a year. And the reason for 5 is 6 would be too many. But the reason for 5 is
And 4 would be too few.
In US law, from the moment you publish the photo, if it isn't registered, you have 90 days to register it and still have the full protection.
Sure.
As opposed to something maybe you published 5 years ago and you're just getting around to registering it. Yeah, you can do it, but if somebody were to have infringed prior to your registration date or something like that, you can't. It's like a legal part of it. You can't get as much money if you were going after that.
Okay.
So for me, I'll do it like roughly once every 75 days.
Okay.
That works out to be 5 times a year. It's easier in the sense when you're registering a group of work.
Sure.
To register everything that it has like the same. They were released and published the same way.
Sure.
Like all through your same website, all in the same year. Either it's all unpublished work or it's all published work. And if you start to mix them together, it gets the application process gets a lot more convoluted.
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah. Wow.
But if you're doing it, like the simplistic approach for me, is everything gets published to my website first. Even if it's like 5 minutes later, it goes to Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It goes on my, the blog post goes up at 9, and then at Instagram it goes on 9:02.
So you do that for like ownership?
I do that to make the application process easier with the Copyright Office, where they say, well, where were these published? Scott.photo.com.
I got you.
End of story. I don't have to do anything else.
I got you.
Yeah. And then just making sure I do it within, 90 days.
Okay.
So, usually, so 2.5 month batches of stuff.
That
go
makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. And so now the watermark thing, this is where it's like, I don't know enough if I would get the, I don't know, like the advertising part of it and the marketing part of it, I kind of get. And if somebody removes your watermark, like you mentioned, someone goes and crops it, well, that, if you have it registered, that's considered malicious intent, or I don't know what the legal term is, but someone's gone and taken a step to not only take your work, but then try to remove evidence that it is your work. And that, becomes a whole different level of legalese and usually, means more
They
dollars.
used to handle that back in the day with a duel.
What's a duel?
Where
Sounds like an Indian guy.
where they get guns.
Oh, that kind of duel. I'm thinking like, is this like some like tool thing? I don't know why. It's
a joke.
That word,
hey, I'm practicing for. I'm trying to practice to get my joking for the dad jokes competition we've got going on.
I know.
Man, I failed
that
horribly.
one just went right over my head.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm like a duel.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, is this like, I'm thinking in terms of removing a watermark. It's like, what is this like a chemical process? Or
okay, so let's remove this part of the podcast and let's all of a sudden pretend like now all of a sudden, okay, so let's redo that. In the old days, they used to handle the, I know you do the editing on this.
You know that I'm not going to edit this out. But yeah, so I mean, at the end of it all, so that coming back to your question about like the payment stuff, registering with the U.S. Copyright Office, that costs money.
Okay.
And they're getting insanely fast. If you do the application right, I did an application in December. I got my registration last week, like 20 days.
Wow, that is pretty.
It was really
lightning.
nutty. Yeah, it was really nutty. It used to take a year.
Yeah.
But so then well, how do you find?
That's
The first one I did took 13 months. Yeah. So I don't know what happened either. I mean, I've gotten better at the application process. I know exactly what they want, but there's something else has happened inside their offices that they've streamlined something.
Wow.
But then, how do you go find people that are using your work? That's where Pixie comes in. That's a free service. And, you can you go to pixie.com and you can try it out. And then if, what I did after I got my first settlement, it's like, well, I'm going to sign up for this. I'm going to pay for the service now and get basically priority scanning. They'll scan my stuff faster.
I gotcha.
And so, I'll get a tighter feedback loop on finding someone's using the photo.
So not only can you Google yourself, you can Pixie yourself.
You can. Yes.
And earlier this morning, I Yahoo'd myself.
Whoa. I didn't know people still used Yahoo in the States.
I Lycosed myself.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's, wasn't that the one with the dog?
Lycos. I think so.
With the dog. And there was Ask Jeeves.
Oh, yeah. Which eventually just became ask.com.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Whoa,
Ancient search engines.
Yeah. Oh, no, there are even older ones. There are even older ones. I remember using some before Google. It had something about brain, like Eat Brain or Dog Brain.
There was Alta Vista.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you really want to go far back, you forget about that. You go to Gopher.
Gopher. Yeah.
We're totally derailing right now. But yeah, so if you're, it's one of those. If you've ever had situations where you do find that you find that your work has been used inappropriately, I would go ahead and start registering. I mean, I can't talk about the amounts that get settled, but what I can say is that a single settlement will easily cover the cost of registering your photos, and probably also cover the cost of paying for a service like cool. Pixie. I mean, I let them decide how much it should be, how much they should go after and all that kind of stuff, because chances are they're going to know better than I am based on what all the other cases that they're working.
Okay.
So yeah, it's an awesome service, and I highly recommend it. Try it out. It's free.
I'm going to go do that.
Yeah, it's free.
I'm going to go Pixie myself.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys are educated. I sure am. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, go for it.
Now I'm curious. I mean, if it's going to take up the rest of my day, I'm like, oh my god, these 4 websites on. Yeah.
So there's I suppose there's one other thing that is worth talking about too. Yeah. So if you're doing a reverse lookup, whatever it is on any image you have. Now, if you are also putting those images into stock sites, Adobe Stock, I don't know, Shutterstock, whatever,
and
you've got to do the legwork to know that somebody has legally purchased the rights to use your photo.
Yeah.
And I've heard that in some services that can be challenging. I remember 500px having something where it was not an easy connect the dots thing to figure out that someone had legally paid for a license. They legally licensed your photo. So that's one other thing. If you're doing a lot of stock work, you will have, you hope you'll find a bunch of matches, because that means someone's licensing your photo. But you'll need to know that, yes, this was, legally licensed, and hopefully there's a virtual paper trail that would lead you down that road.
So is 500 pics a stock site? I don't remember it being.
They do. They have this thing. I think they call it Prime.
Oh.
They have a marketplace, and they have there's photos that you can put there that are exclusive to 500px, and there's others that you say, I'm going to put these on multiple places.
Okay.
But yeah, they do have a stock service. Yeah.
Good to know. Yeah. It's good to know. I'm actually looking into stock photography at some point in the near future, just because I've got a huge
You've got a gigantic library worth of stuff. Yeah. So yeah,
someone might find it useful.
Maybe.
So. Thanks, man.
You bet.
Oh, guys, if you have any questions, I know yesterday we. During the workshop that I taught, afterwards we got, hey, can you do this? Or how can I do this? Or please let us know.
Yeah,
we'd love to chat about this.
Is there something, a topic that you want to know about?
Yeah.
Because that'd be cool. I mean, I do the same thing on my other channel is, send us ideas, because that'll really feed the engine of the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
We have a list of just to kind of give you guys a behind. We should actually do a behind the scenes of how we prep for this at some point.
Well, the prep part maybe not, but at least because the prep is like 30 seconds outside the car. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're not kidding when we say this is not scripted.
But for the setup of the cameras and the so forth and things like that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But part of this is like sometimes we have a shared document that we refer to. Mm-hmm. And we kind of go, hey, let's talk about this at some point. Let's talk about this. We want to populate that spreadsheet with what you guys want. Definitely. So let us know. I'm out of water.
And I need my coffee.
Yeah.
So let's go take care of that.
All right, guys. Take care. Thanks so much for joining us. Lycos myself.